This motherfucker gets started. All right, there you go. Well, yo, what's good, everybody? Good evening. Welcome. Episode 21 of the Tony the Savant Show. I got a brother of mine in this sports content creating world. My boy Ralph from Damn YouTube Sports Talk. What's good, big bro?
Yeah, what's up, man? What's going on? Appreciate you for having me.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you for pulling up. I like to kick off the show. Big bro, let the people know where they can find you, your platforms.
Yeah, you can follow me on IG at damn underscore YouTube underscore sports talk. Same thing on YouTube. It's damn YouTube sports talk. You can go over there and subscribe. I got content coming real soon. And then you can follow my personal page, Ralph underscore sneaks on Instagram as well.
Yeah, bro. I meant to ask you. Well, we were doing our back, behind the scenes talk. Got that nice setup, bro. I'm a sneakerhead myself, bro. I got to
Yeah,
get
man.
this together.
Yeah, it's it done got out of hand, man. It's a habit.
Can't never have too many, man.
Nah, you can't. You can't. It's a habit.
That's the one thing I always been in lockstep with the ladies about. Mamas
Yeah,
and my sisters, they had their heels. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Y'all get y'all.
yeah.
Well, thank you, big bro. Welcome, welcome. Well,
Appreciate it.
we just concluded Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. I know you've been following this NBA world like I do, big bro. Tell it, and we was cooking behind the scenes, but
Yeah,
making some great points. If you don't
yeah,
mind, just singing that tune again, letting the people know what you feel like this Minnesota Timberwolves team could do if they got a chance to come back, and how you thinking. And see, I think you thinking what I'm thinking with these
yeah.
Mavericks.
I think as far well, I'm gonna start with Minnesota. As far as Minnesota, uh, I'm gonna give them a game in this series just off of what they did throughout the regular season.
Hmm.
I ain't gonna say they're gonna get swept. I think they'll get a close one. The next game, I think they'll get. But after that, it's pretty much a wrap, man. They ain't gonna win the series. Like I was telling you earlier, man. I think Minnesota they need to go and get another guy. I don't have a cap space, numbers in front of me right now.
Hmm.
But the flip side of that is when I say go get another guy, not just a guy that can catch and shoot. They need to go and get a guy that can also create off the dribble and get his. You know what I mean? Because the team you got right now is solid. Um, but once you get like once you keep getting deep into the playoffs, it gets tougher and tougher.
Yeah.
So you starting to see that now that the regular season when you playing different teams every other night, you know what I mean? Half the team you play ain't contenders, and out of the other half that's remaining, they probably ain't playoff teams either. So, you know what I
Mm.
mean? It's gonna be tough the further the deeper you go, and you start to see that now because Ant can't even really get off like he wants because he got to play both sides of the ball now. He don't have another guy on the offensive end that can pick it up when he's slacking on that end. I mean,
Mm.
and it's gonna be tough for him to get another guy like that because looking at his free agency class, it's not real deep. You know what I mean? For one, it's not that deep with those type of free agents. For one, and for two, Minnesota gave up a lot to get Rudy Gobert, so they may not even have the assets available right now to go and get that type of guy. So unless you got guys that's probably willing to take a pay cut or whatever, because but I don't know who taking a pay cut to come over there to Minnesota. I never heard nobody taking a pay cut to come to Minnesota. You know,
True.
they paying Ant, they paying Cat, they paying Rudy. So you tied up with three guys right there. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be tough for them this offseason to do that. Um, so I mean, to me, it's gonna be tough for Minnesota to do that this offseason. But it's as far as Dallas go, I think they did a damn good job at the deadline going to get Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington. You know what I mean? That was underrated. Those weren't even blockbuster moves, but those were moves that were minor that addressed their needs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Jason Kidd to me, uh, to kind of put it together with Kyrie and Luka because everybody thought that wasn't gonna work, but Jason Kidd kind of found a way to make that work. And then they made the moves at the deadline to get PJ and Daniel Gafford and and the rookie playing big too. Derek Lively as a
Yeah.
rookie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think he's gonna have that Tyson Chandler type of effect in the league. You know what I mean? I could see him winning a couple of Defensive Player of the Year awards in his career. You know what I mean? Being similar to what Tyson Chandler was out there in Dallas. It's a
Yeah.
similar player to me.
I like that. I like that, bro. That's a great point. Me myself didn't consider that Minnesota could use another scorer because the young man, he is a two-way player. Shout out to Anthony Edwards. He is
Yeah,
everything what they hyping him up to be. But game of basketball is 5-on-5, and
yeah,
at this level, like you said, man, everybody's tired. Everybody gassing out. It's really about who got that last bit of dog in them to get these next
yeah,
5 wins. It's all you
yeah,
need.
yeah.
So you hate to get to the end of it. But let me ask you this, big bro. You made a mention of Cat, him getting his money. Him, at one point, Cat was the face of the Minnesota Timberwolves, but kind of
Right.
taking a back seat to Anthony Edwards during his rise. Do you think that Cat is uh, really living up to, as far as being the 1-2 punch, being the two? You think he living up to being the second option for the Minnesota Timberwolves? Because he's supposed to be that other guy that's supposed to get his buckets.
Yeah, he's supposed to, but I think the issue with Cat is he kind of done fell in love too much with the perimeter. You know what I mean? He sometimes he have a mismatch where he can just uh take his guy, but he settled for a lot of jump shots. You know what I mean? I think as a big man, he done kind of fell in love with the perimeter. Um, and it's kind of cutting into his ability to take advantage of the matchups that he got.
I
You know what I
agree.
mean? So, and I see some of that in Miles Turner too. Like he don't take advantage of his matchups. He done fell in love with hanging around the perimeter too much and taking too many shots. You know what I mean? Once they look good, once they fall and you hit them, but once you don't and you looking at the matchup you got, you like, why you ain't got him down on the block? Making it hard for him. You bailing him out, making it easy for him, especially if you ain't hitting your shots. Um, so Cat, I think he probably, if you go and get another guy, if you Minnesota, that'll be a good third option to have, Cat. But right now, I think it's and then injuries probably have something to do with it too, because Cat done missed some time over the past couple of years with some injuries too, so that
Yeah.
might have something to do with it. But you know what I mean, like you said, this Anthony Edwards team, this Ant Man team, um, and I think you could get a better second option. Um, and if Cat can be a third option, you in damn good shape.
That would be a real good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, man, that's couldn't say it better myself. I would hate to count out the Timberwolves, because they're young, inexperienced, down 3-0. But some I done learned, big bro, being an athlete myself,
Yeah,
you can't count them wins before the game is played. A lot of times you go in there. I've been a part of a team, my baseball
yeah,
team, bro. We was the
yeah,
powerhouse.
yeah,
We talking greasy up. Niggas walked out of there with no championship. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. I've been in situations. Yeah, yeah.
So
I actually started playing baseball. That was my first sport, really,
yeah,
baseball.
you too, big bro? Yeah,
Yeah,
that was my first. And then I got into basketball. I just was more in
yep,
love with basketball, of course.
yep, yep.
'Cause of
That's
the
how it was.
attention you
Yeah,
get. But at the same time, we was the powerhouse in baseball. Walked in that mug. Yeah, what up? What up?
yeah,
And coming out there, oh man, what happened?
yeah,
So I don't want to count the Timberwolves out for that one reason, but moving forward, they definitely need a legitimate second option on the perimeter, more so even a big man.
yeah.
That's a great point, big bro.
But I know who probably would be a good option, and they probably, well, I ain't gonna say probably, but they don't even have the assets to get him.
Who you
Because
think?
if you look at a team like Atlanta, they got 2 point guards.
Mm-hmm.
If you can somehow get a DeJounte Murray type of player, somebody that can average 20 and 10, you know, somebody that ain't got to worry about, being the face of the team or being the leader of the team because you already got that in Anthony Edwards, and he can get his own shot.
I like that. I was thinking, what do you think about Paul George?
Um, Paul George, Paul George will work, but I just don't see Paul George
Yeah.
leaving. Going nowhere. I think once he left Indiana, Um, he went to OKC, and then OKC he just kind of fell in love with LA. To me, it seemed like Paul George just wanted to always be in LA even before he went to OKC. That
No,
was just the pit stop and route to LA, and he went to OKC. So I don't really see him going to Minnesota. I mean, that would work, but I just don't see him want to go there.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I know they've been floating his name around. One of those early free agents they've been
Yeah.
floating around. But on the other side of the conference finals, big bro, what you think about this Boston Celtics? I was telling a gentleman that I did the show with earlier, Mr. Rudy Reyes, about if we had this conversation a week ago, it might have been a little bit more interesting,
Yeah.
But now it looked like Boston is gonna
Yeah.
roll into the finals again. I don't want to count the wins before the games are played. You never know. Indiana's they the number one offense, from the regular season. I think they've been putting up points this
Yeah.
playoffs as well. But what's your thoughts on that side of the conference finals, big bro?
Like you said, man, it's Boston. They up 3. So even before they went up 3, I didn't think that Indy had enough. Now that you got Tyrese Halliburton, he out. He might not come back because the series might not go long enough for him to have a chance to come back.
Yeah.
But Indy, to me, at Indy, I mean, they got a good young team. I think they probably play a little bit too fast at times. Just certain points in the game where they could have slowed it down and run the offense, but they still playing at 100 miles an hour, and they end up getting careless with the ball, having turnovers at the wrong time. They probably could have got one of them games in Boston. Like I said, they turned the ball over at the wrong time, playing too fast, and it cost them. And that was the one game that they could have got, and they probably could have rolled some momentum off of that.
Yeah.
Not saying that it was going to beat the Celtics, but they would have made it much more interesting.
Yeah.
And if you Boston, you ain't even got to worry about bringing Porzingis back. So you just sit him and let him rest for the final. You know what I mean? You ain't got to bring him back for this series.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Halliburton's status is, but like I said, he out. Miles Turner, like I was saying, he played too far away from the basket. So in my opinion, this is my theory. In my opinion, what I would do if I'm Indy, I probably would do what Minnesota did. I would probably go and get another big and just let Miles Turner be like my stretch four.
Yeah.
He already like to hang out at the perimeter and shoot it from out there anyway. Because for one, to me, he don't get enough rebounds to be a big. I think he was 6'11", something like that. He don't. I mean, he got out rebounded in the Knicks series by guards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he don't get enough boards. So if I'm Indy, because I'm already looking at him losing this series. So if I'm Indy going into the offseason, I would add a big, a rim protecting big, and a rebounder. Maybe somebody like Clint Capella, because he's probably gonna be out of Atlanta when Atlanta drafts Saul with the first pick. So that's an expiring contract. So if it works, it works. If it's not, it's no big deal. You're not tied up with Capella past next season anyway. So you get a big, that's a veteran guy. You know what I mean? He don't really. I ain't never known Capella to have no locker room issues. If you know locker room counsel.
Yeah,
so you get a big that can rebound. It's gonna get you about 11, 12 rebounds on average, probably more than that. And he can rim protect. And he run the floor better than a lot of bigs. You know what I mean? So if he gets you 10, if he can average 10 and 12 or 10 and 13, and you got Miles Turner, hanging out on the perimeter, I mean, I think that's more so what they need in the I mean, it's hard to say that because they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, but that's a whole nother conversation. You could argue that the Knicks was banged up and that's the only reason they got there, but you know what I mean? We're just speaking on the team that's actually there now, which is Indy. So that's what I think Indy needs to do going into the offseason. They need to get a big that can rebound.
Man, quiet as Kelby, bro. They had a big. I wanted them to keep Sabonis somehow, some way, because I think they would have been better off with Sabonis, Siakam, and Halliburton than Miles Turner, Siakam, Halliburton.
Yeah, and that was a big pickup too, Siakam.
Yeah,
that was a huge pickup for them.
He was single handedly keeping them in the game. I mean, Miles Turner was hitting some buckets in them hard, but he was single handedly going toe to toe with the ball.
You really didn't even hear about Siakam during the regular season. You really didn't start hearing his name until the postseason. You know what I mean? So Really, Toronto. That's really, in my opinion, what he was in Toronto. You know, what I mean, you heard more about him in the postseason in Toronto than regular season.
I always thought of Pascal. I always thought him of like a, and no disrespect to him, but much like a poor man's Kawhi Leonard. You know, got that same
Yeah,
kind of. He can play defense. He can get his buckets. I mean, I don't know if you would agree. You know, I don't
yeah,
think it's apples to apples, but just that same, laid back.
kind of fit. Yeah,
I'm gonna turn up and get 20. You know, Kawhi can turn up and get 35, but
yeah, yeah,
but yeah, man, I like what they got going, and like I said, I agree too. They need a big. They should have been got rid of Miles Turner years ago, a couple years ago, man. Respectfully, just because I've never really cared for his game. Uh, he reminds me of AD without the defense. You know, he got
yeah,
the jump shot, everything on the offense. Him and AD is like, similar to me in that facet. But what AD gonna do is give you 3 blocks,
yeah,
some effort, some
yeah,
effort at least.
yeah. Turner ain't really. Yeah, he could. I think he could be much better. You know what I mean? He
Yeah,
could be
then what
much
he
better.
is.
Yeah, he don't
7
really.
foot. Come on, bro.
Yeah, because he was getting They had Derek White checking him at one time, and he wasn't even punishing Derek White. I'm like, bro, you should be 6'10", 6'11", and Derek White is what, 6'4", 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I think Derek White actually blocked one of his shots.
yeah, he did.
Yeah, he
Caught
blocked
him.
one of his shots. Yeah, I'm like, bro, you should be punishing that dude.
Man, bro, we still in a whole era of big dudes that don't want to get in the post, bro. Like that's the easy 2 points, field goal percentage up. You know, I'm sure you can go to your contract table. Like, hey, look, I'm
Yep,
guaranteed 12 points in the paint.
yep,
Uh, but these dudes, man, we just stuck. We still in that era, I guess. Hopefully.
yeah, yeah. If you
Uh,
get, your average will go way up if you can get, if you can average 12 in the paint. If you're a stretch big and you can average 12 in the paint,
just give me
plus
that.
plus another 10 on the perimeter, plus whatever you get at the free throw line, your averages will go way up. But they, shooting 8, 9 threes a game, hitting 2, 3 of them. You know what I
Nah,
mean? Not getting fouled and all. Yeah, they
it's
hurt their
ridiculous.
average. Yeah,
Give me 6 more inches, big bro. I'm 6'2" right now. Give me 6 more. Ah,
yeah.
you better not put no guard on me, fam.
Posterizer.
But so that kind of segues into the finals, big bro. I guess the writings on the wall. Dallas and Boston, man. You kind of touched on it when you was talking about the two closers, probably the two greatest closers in the NBA right now with Luka and Kyrie. I'm gonna be a little cap and give them
Yeah,
those. Uh,
yeah,
So we're gonna have Boston. They got a top 5 defense. I think they number 3 or somewhere in that top 5 realm. You got the two closers. Uh, how you see this finals playing out? At the end of the day.
um, man, this could be a 6 game, 6 or 7 game series. Like I said, I think Dallas is gonna have to play more defense than what Boston's gonna have to play. I think Boston's a better defensive team, but you got Porzingis, should be back. If they don't have no setback, he should be back.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of bumps Horford down in the rotation, which makes them a little bit deeper than what they is. They not really a very deep team anyway, but they'll be a little bit deeper once Porzingis get back.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's gonna be a 6 or 7 game series. Like you said, Kyrie, he gonna come back to Boston. He gonna have a point to prove. He gonna kind of show people that his success ain't linked to LeBron. You know what I mean? A lot of people say he can't do nothing outside of LeBron. All the success that he got is linked to LeBron. But I think he's gonna go back in this finals and show and prove that his success ain't just linked to LeBron. You know what I mean? So, especially coming back to Boston, you know what I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
team that, that he tried to be the leader of and it didn't work out. So, he done kind of I ain't gonna say rebranded, but he done kind of rechanged his image I mean, not to me, but to the media. You know what I mean? They tarnished and bashed him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I think it's really backfiring on him. You know what I mean? What he doing out there in Dallas with Luka.
Yeah.
And he about to be in the finals.
Hey, I don't know if you've seen that post I made, bro, the other day. I think at the game 1 or 2, when Stephen A was, because Stephen A was number
Yeah,
1 hitter on Kyrie for whatever reason. I don't know if it was personal. They said they made up, but Stephen A was on his heels. And then
Yeah.
after game one, Kyrie did the post game interview, pulled up to the ESPN panel. Stephen A ain't nowhere to be found. I'm like, yeah, man,
Yeah.
it ain't make no sense how y'all was bashing them, you know.
Yeah. Everybody was, man. It was, bro. I mean, um, what's the owner of Brooklyn, Joe Tsai? I mean, he got to be kicking himself in the ass now. He, getting rid of Kyrie. I mean, I think what they thought was they were gonna send him to Dallas. Somewhere the last team they thought he wanted to go to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They
that.
figured they figured it wasn't gonna work with Luka,
Mm-hmm.
and Dallas will get rid of him, and then there'll be more. They can pile on by him bouncing around team to team. But it ain't working out like that. I think
Yeah,
Jason Kidd and kind of found a way to for them two to mesh.
and I was telling another one of my homies, man. I think people forget Kyrie and Luca are students of Kobe. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure they swapping Kobe stories. Like, man,
yeah,
Kobe showed me this. Damn, he showed you that. He showed me this. You know what I mean? Ain't no telling.
yeah,
Uh, Kyrie a little bit more, known as Kobe's number one student, but
yeah,
Luca was under that umbrella as well. So uh, I'm sure they've both got that, that spirit about them. Like, hey, they both look comfortable in the end of the game.
yeah,
2 minutes left, they hitting them like it's water. So
yeah.
I think people ain't count for that. And those are good points. I want to throw something at you, big bro. Do you think that? Cause it's kind of talking about Kobe. I just thought about this while you was cooking. Kyrie got an opportunity to detach his legacy from LeBron the same way Kobe, what I'm saying, felt that need to detach his legacy from Shaq and had to vindicate himself with another ring. Kobe felt he had to get two because he didn't want to be tied with Shaq. But do you think that's kind of weird, how that science is playing out?
You said what now?
As far
Say
as
what?
what you mentioned, as far as Kyrie having this opportunity to to go back to the finals, detach his legacy from LeBron, or at least his success. Everybody kind of
Yeah,
latching on. Uh, I just thought about this while you mentioned that. Do you think it's kind of in the stars, I guess, that Kobe went through the same thing with Shaq, as far as him having that period in his career where everybody was saying you only won 3 rings because of Shaq, and that narrative, and then he
yeah.
felt the same.
I I think I think certain players, when it comes to a certain point in their career, they kind of, especially them caliber players, they got to do that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To prove why they are that them caliber players. You know what I mean? I think that's something Kobe had to do.
Yeah.
Like Kobe had to win um, without Shaq to prove that he didn't need Shaq. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So in my opinion, I don't even think that even if Kyrie get, even if they, get to the finals and he lose, if he lose a competitive game, you know what I mean, I still think he's separating himself um and still showing people that he don't necessarily need LeBron. You know what I
Yep.
mean? He still put on Uncle Drew like performances, so
Yeah.
he don't necessarily need LeBron.
Yeah, man. Kyrie really showing me layers to his game. This
Yeah.
Western guy, he's taking defense, he's distributing. I'm like, okay, Drew. Okay, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, it's because I think he had 33, so him and Luca both had 33, so
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like pick your poison. And I mean, that's what will make the matchup, good against Boston. Because
Mm-hmm.
right now the talk of Boston is Jalen Brown. It ain't Tatum. Everybody's saying Brown, and he got snubbed. He didn't even make All NBA.
Yeah, crazy.
Um, yeah, and I think they had a better record this year than they had last year. And
Mm-hmm.
he still didn't make All NBA. But that's really the talk of Boston right now. It's Jalen Brown. It ain't Tatum. So they gotta get it done in Boston this year. They got to.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I've said this too. Everybody talk about Jason Tatum as if he the number one. Look, respectfully, Jason Tatum is a very skilled player, but he ain't got the mentality of a number one, man. You know what I'm saying? He probably got the skill set. Jalen
Yeah,
Brown got the mentality excuse me, of a first option. That's what I meant to say. Uh, and Jalen Brown don't really got the skill set of a first option. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
he gonna go toe to toe with you. As long as he can. If you can get 40 out of it, he gonna get 40. But
So
I want to
you,
see them young boys do it, man. I think like they got that same kind of uh, uh, story arc that Jordan and Pippen had. Just two wing players coming up in the trenches.
Yeah.
And finally getting, having to lose a couple years, then finally getting over the hump. Maybe they get 2-3 rings out of their run.
You think if Boston don't win it this year, they break up Tatum and Brown?
They got to, bro. They got to. They're gonna have to, because here's the thing: Jaylen Brown already getting $300 million, so Jason Tatum gonna get a $350.
I think they said if they keep them two with Tatum Supermax, between just them two players, it's gonna be like $600 million.
$500 million, bro. That is
just them two.
That is crazy. $500 million, big bro. The two basketball players.
And that's not even counting Porzingis' contract. That's not even counting what they just read up Drew Holiday with. That's just Brown and Tatum contracts. You know what I mean? $600 million.
And I was looking into all because the Nuggets, they into some cap space. They gonna have to break up they core a little bit. It's just it's cool to get that contract, but when it's time to start reeing up and putting your team back together, because now with them two, if you're gonna keep them two, you're gonna have to get all of the veteran contract minimums. You're gonna be in the same situation LeBron and AD in. You ain't gonna be able to get number 1, number 2 draft pick or nothing like that to come in.
Yeah, and they done. I think LA done. They cooked.
Yeah, because I just it just came out yesterday that Bron a free agent. What you think about that, B-Ron? I'm gonna let you cook on this first.
They done, man. I think pretty much LeBron got the LA Lakers organization in the chokehold. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of different stuff. It's a lot of different, stuff on the table right now that's not in the advantage of the LA Lakers. You know what I mean? LeBron opted out. His son Bronny in the draft. So you got other teams that are better positioned than the Lakers. You know what I mean? The Lakers are limited on picks, but you got other teams that can afford to splurge a first-round pick to get Bronny. Meanwhile, the Lakers can't. You know what I mean? They need to use their first-round pick to get an impact play in there now. They can't afford to splurge on a Bronny to keep Bron. And I think LeBron know that. You know what I mean? Now, LeBron, he normally do his, 1-and-1s where he do a season, then opt out, then re-sign the real for money. But I don't think that's the case this time. It's a good chance that you look at a team like the Knicks, right? They got draft picks, they got assets. Now they can afford to spend a first round pick because they got multiple. You know what I mean? They may not have multiple in this draft, but they got multiple picks, coming up that the Lakers don't have that the Knicks do. So the Knicks can afford to draft LeBron.
Yeah.
And not re-sign, a couple guys that's free agents and create that cap to bring Bron over there if they want.
Yeah, I agree. I had seen a Reddit report, this about a month or two ago. They got it. The Knicks, if they want to, man, they can have AD over there. They can have LeBron over there. As far as the cap space and draft picks that they have. Yeah. Keep Jalen Brunson, and re-up like that. And I don't know, man. I don't know if that'll be a championship move, but it'll definitely
even Cleveland. You know what I mean? He was just at the game Mother's Day weekend, staying courtside.
Yeah,
LeBron. So and since then the Cavs are being, the Cavs really low key being smart right now. They fired JB Biggerstaff, right? LeBron was just at the game Mother's Day weekend, courtside. After the Cavs lost to Boston, there was rumors that if Donovan Mitchell resigns, Darius Garland, who's a clutch client by the way, may request a trade, right? So now they got the situation where Donovan Mitchell saying he's happy, it ain't, don't believe that, this, that, third. But, Cleveland got to be sitting there thinking like, we got to lock this dude in because if we don't, we can't let him play out the final year and let him walk for nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we either got to sign him, or if he says he's not signing his extension, we need to immediately put him on the trade block and get something for him because we can't let him play this season out and walk for nothing.
Yeah.
And we don't get nothing. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Cavs splurge on a first round pick to draft Bron and bring Bron back to Cleveland with his son where it all started and then coming from the west to the east, where it's an easier path to get to the finals, in my opinion. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. And they don't have a coach right now because they fired JB Bickerstaff. So whatever coaching staff that the Lakers, or whatever coaching candidates that the Lakers had, the Cavs could now have those same interests in them coaches. If it's a chance to get LeBron to come over there.
I ain't think about that, bro. Yeah, they definitely can make them same moves and make it happen in Cleveland. I think Brian would prefer it that way, to go back to Cleveland and end off in his ride and start Bronny's ride.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, big bro. What's your take on Bronny? Do you think?
I don't really. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't really consider Bronny a first round talent. I think this draft is full of. I think this draft right here is pretty much full of a lot of good role players.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't think this is the draft that you. I mean, anything could happen. You know what I mean? Anybody could emerge to be something that we don't think they can be in this draft. But looking at the draft right now, it's not really a lot of impact guys. There's a lot of good, solid role players that can play significant roles with teams to help them, in a couple years. But I don't think there's no clear-cut franchise player, no face of the team, no none of that. I don't see that in this year's draft.
Yeah,
but like I said, Bronny, man, he could be a good, solid role player. But looking at what he did at USC, it's hard to say that. But they say he had a good combine. But being at USC and the combine is different. Then getting to the league is different, especially with the pressure. There's only being LeBron's son, and they already done put pressure on him. But I don't know if you remember, LeBron said, I think he was pissed off with the Lakers or something. I think he said it in an interview or tweeted it out or something.
Yeah.
That Bron is better than half the guys in the league already.
Yeah.
So you won't come into the league with a target on your back, like Lonzo.
Yeah.
Yeah. When his dad was talking about in the first game he came into the league, Pat Bev was picking him up full court.
Yep. The first game Lonzo played against Curry. Curry cooked him.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, man, it's funny you say that, bro. Just in that same wave, like it's one thing, and it kind of reminds me of Caitlin Clark. Funny enough, you know what I mean? I don't know if you've been keeping up with that, but you come into the pro league with all that college hype or with all that Nike hype, all that media hype. The pros gonna come eat you alive, man. They're like, we out here already in the field. You just getting here.
Yeah.
And I think that's an exception for every professional league. Because I remember when Reggie Bush came into the NFL, his first game against the Eagles.
Yeah.
I think it was Brian Dawkins laid that fool out.
Yeah, he welcomed him to the league.
Hey man, hey, look. Now you with the big boys, you getting the big dollars, you getting the big hits.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of players in the league that, like you said, man, like Caitlin Clark, they not gonna like the fact that Bronny been getting certain treatment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's guy. I mean, I know it's guys in this draft that's better than Bronny right now, but they not getting talked about. You know what I mean? Yeah. We talking about. I hate to say it like this, but it's true. You know what I mean? We talking about Bronny because of who his dad is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of players ain't gonna really, especially young players, that's not really getting that light shed on them like that. They not gonna. I ain't gonna say they gonna hate Bronny. It's just not. They ain't gonna like the fact that you getting, handouts. You know what I mean? So
it's another good comparison. De'Aaron Fox, came out with Lonzo Ball, same class. He cooked Lonzo Ball the first few times.
Yeah.
He was cooking him in college too.
Yep.
Just like, hey, you the next thing up. Well, I'm gonna get my shine anytime I play you.
Yep. And he did.
That's great points, big bro. So, how you feel about? You've been following the Caitlin Clark saga and all that. It's been a lot of stuff, a lot of
man. Somewhat, man. I really ain't never been into WNBA like that. You know what I mean? I watch the highlights on ESPN or whatever, but I ain't never actually tuned in and watch the whole game.
Yeah.
But as far as Caitlin Clark, man, I think she's putting a lot of eyes on women's basketball now. You know what I mean? There's a
Yeah.
lot of people um, are now starting to tune in more, and you know, you can tell by certain games they have to move to larger venues. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? The ticket prices are increasing, so you know, she putting people in the seats, man. She putting eyes on the game. You know what I mean? And it's sad that it take a player like that to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's talent in the league, it should have been people should have been watching anyway. That's kind of make me feel like a lot of people be quote unquote so much cap with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is only and the hype is only gonna last for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's trending now because there's a lot of money involved with it, but a couple years from now, it's not gonna be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big bro. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it ain't
said
gonna be like that.
it's unfortunate. I said this earlier in the blog, bro. I'm like, it's the media, man. You know, the media starts all these
Yeah,
nonsensical wars, you know, because you know the media, they're gonna build you up just to break you down, bro.
yep,
That's all the mainstream.
yep,
We the real media now. You know, shout out to Draymond for even saying the
yeah,
new media is the real media because we in the field. You know what I mean? We ain't got time to be tarnishing other people's reputations.
yeah,
This is what the mainstream gets paid to do. So I think it's a little bit on them, but partially. You said a good point as well, bro. It's a lot of casuals, you know what I mean? A lot of casual fans that fall in love, who follow her from Iowa, you know what I'm saying, when she was just shooting up 15 threes, hitting five of them, and that's what
yep,
they fell in love with. Um, it's like, nah, bro, that don't translate in the pros because in the pros you getting schematic defense put on you.
yeah,
But speaking of the talent, how do you feel about? I'm a big fan of Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, only mainly because they playing for my team, the Chicago Sky. Yeah,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That's from the city. But have you been paying attention to any of the other young ladies around that came out of that draft class?
Um, nah, not really.
Mm.
To be honest, not really. I follow a lot of girls from South Carolina with Don State. Um,
Yeah, yeah, same.
yeah, I've been checking out Asia Wilson.
Yeah, that's my
Um,
girl. That's my dog.
so I just be curious to know how this if you know what they do at South Carolina do it really translate over to like UConn. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
A lot of UConn women because a lot of times they be at these winning programs, and a lot of times it just be the program, not
Yeah,
necessarily the player. You know what I mean? The program get the players in there, and they already got a system and they got a certain way of doing it.
yeah,
And once they get out of that program and get to the league, they go into a system where it's not really as structured as where they come from. So they it don't really translate well. But
yeah.
for Asia Wilson, I like Asia Wilson, man. I think she can hold on.
Yeah, that's
Hold
my
on.
that's my dog right now, man. I watched her last night, and the Aces played against Caitlin Clark and the Fever and them, and I mean, Asia Wilson was hitting threes, she hitting jump shots, blocks. I mean, like she really she.
Yeah,
I ain't saying she could play in the NBA, you know what I'm saying? But you know, if she was, she would be no scrub. You know what I'm saying? She definitely
yeah,
gets it
I
done.
like Angel Reese too.
Yeah, yeah,
I think a lot of her trash talking is I ain't gonna say it's bad. A lot of it can kind of boost your game to a degree, so to speak.
yeah,
Um, because I ain't gonna say necessarily say it intimidate the opponent because now you're at a professional level, you should be able to know how to deal with that.
yeah,
But I think it just adds to her game. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Trash talking. It ain't something that she just started doing. She was doing it at LSU,
yeah. Fact.
so that ain't nothing that's gonna um, take away from her game. I think it's only gonna help and add to it.
Yeah, I think they got targets on they Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese got targets on their back for two different reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I rock with that, big bro. And we'll see how that unfolds. You know, really, the Caitlin Clark effect really won't be felt for another 2-3 years down the line anyway. So
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
it's all just fun to talk about now. She's still a rookie, ain't no real rookie unless you Magic Johnson, Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
You're not finna
Yeah.
just
Unless you, yeah, like you said, it's like this, transcendent type, rookie. But yeah, everybody got to go through their rookie wall. You know what I
big
mean?
facts. That's a big fact. Well, big bro, if it's all good with you, man, we segue over to some football. As the NFL season is brewing, they just dropped the schedules. You know, everybody putting they cap predictions out.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. I forgot to ask you behind the scenes, big bro. Who your squad?
I'm a Carolina fan.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
man.
Respectfully.
Yeah, I grew up. Well, childhood. I'm actually my aunt. She lived a couple blocks away, so you know what I mean. I had to have one team
Yeah.
out of that city. You know what I mean. So my
Yeah.
aunt, she pretty much helped raise me. She's still a couple blocks away, so I'm a Carolina fan.
I like that. So how you feeling about y'all squad, man? I mean, you got your young boy Bryce Young. Things were kind of shaky last season, but I still believe in the young man as far as, give him some time as well. But what's the temperature, big bro? You actually in the crib. What's the temperature?
Yeah.
Depends.
Man, I think. Well, I mean, anything better than two wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anything better than two wins is improvement. We only had two wins last year, so
yeah.
even if you come back and have three wins or four wins, you know
I
what I
see.
mean?
Yeah.
That's an improvement. But I think with what they added, I think the biggest question is going to be the coach. You know what I mean? You got a first year head coach now. Fired the last guy, he gone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so now what they did is they added weapons for Bryce. You know, they got a first round wide receiver out of South Carolina, Xavier Leggett.
Mm-hmm.
They got Deontay Johnson there out of Pittsburgh now. They still had Adam Thielen there. They got Jonathan Brooks. They got drafted running back out of Texas in the draft. So
Mm-hmm.
they added some offensive pieces around Bryce. Now I'm not sure what the defense is gonna be like because they lost, some pieces on the defensive side, but
Yeah.
they added to the offense and they spent in free agency on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So this right here, this is the year for them to see what Bryce really is. You know what I mean? You couldn't see it last year because we were so bad offensively that
Yeah.
it don't matter what quarterback you had back there last year, it was gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
Um,
Agreed.
so this is, and in my opinion, I would have never. This is me. I would have never traded up to get Bryce.
Same.
I wouldn't have done it. You know what I mean? Especially looking at the quarterbacks that came out of this year's class, and
Yeah.
we would have had the first pick in
Yeah.
this year's draft class, so we would have ended up with possibly a Caleb Williams if he didn't pull an Eli.
Hey, that's
Um,
yeah.
so you know what I mean. So this is the year you gotta kind of make sure the move you made to get Bryce Young was the best move. If not, then you're gonna be right back in the same situation again.
Yeah.
Reevaluating yourself, scratching your head, thinking that we get the right quarterback.
Mm.
Um, but anything better than two wins, in you know what I mean. But realistically, man, we should get at least 6 wins. At least we
Yeah,
should get
y'all,
at least 6 11.
y'all over there in that division. I got the Falcons,
Yeah,
right? The Saints and the
Bucks.
Bucks,
Yeah,
Buccaneers. Yeah, y'all. Well, depending on what the Falcons do with Kirk Cousins, that might be a little shaky. They also got Penix back over there as well, who I think Michael Penix really should be the starter. I know they paid Kirk all that money, but just go ahead and
yeah,
let the young boy you drafted him so high
yeah.
show something. So,
I didn't
uh,
get that either.
yeah, that's maybe sometimes, and I may not to bring back up the Timberwolves, but sometimes I'll be thinking like these the GMs and the owners, they be trying to be like think 5 years ahead and
Yeah,
then do something silly like pick up a Rudy Gobert or have $100 million quarterback in the first round
yeah.
backup, but teach his own, man. And like I said, that's in y'all's division. I'm a Packers fan, big bro. So
Oh yeah, y'all good, man. I think y'all gonna be. I don't think y'all winning the division. I think it's Detroit gonna win it, but
really.
yeah, y'all will make the playoffs.
I think Detroit gonna take a step back,
Think
just off
so?
just off the strength of just me knowing Detroit. They always have whatever good year they have. The next 15 years going to be miserable. So I think they had the Super Bowl, alleged,
Yeah,
kind
they
of
had a Super
pseudo
Bowl
Super
one.
Bowl. Yeah, they gonna go back to the dumpster where they belong. I'm not too worried about Caleb Williams, although I like the young guy, I like the talent. I don't care for the fingernail polish personally. I'm old school, so
Yeah,
uh, and then I think the threat really comes from the Vikings, but that just all depends on what they do. But besides that, man, I got us going to the Super Bowl, big bro. I don't know about you, man. I
think
believe
so.
in. I mean, after the run we put together last year, we got all our pieces. The only thing about us, man, is that we got a defense that we talking about cheese nation, man. Our defense is Swiss cheese. So many hoes. We like bottom of the league in everything.
Yeah.
We just got a new defensive coordinator that who he doesn't have any NFL experience. I think he's coming over from the college, collegiate Boston College, I believe he's coming from.
Yeah.
So he did some things over there. They won a couple things under him over there. But as far as is that going to translate to the NFL, especially when we ain't got the pieces for it to translate? I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. So
Yeah. I think Detroit gonna be similar to what it was last year.
yeah, that's what I don't want to. That's what I don't want to admit, because Detroit last year they just kept winning games. Every time I counted them out, I got my week by week. Me and my boy was doing a week by week, picks. Every time I would pick against Detroit, that'd be the time they win, man, and win big too. I'm like, who the hell?
Yeah. I looked at their schedule. They only it's some crazy stat about their schedule. They only got maybe like 3 outdoor games or something all season.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
They,
And I
I
think
think they in the dome.
yeah, because Minnesota's a dome, Detroit a dome. Then they go y'all. They only play Green Bay twice, but once outside at Lambeau, and then back to Detroit. Then they go to Chicago. And then I think they only got one other outdoor game or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I seen that and I thought that was wild, crazy. Just go to show you the era we in too, as far as football go. Everybody got domes now, but yeah, that might count against them. You mess around, got to play an outside team in the AFC, excuse me, NFC Championship. That definitely gonna work against you. So I don't want. I'm just being a hater, you know what I mean? Because they a division rival. I'm being a hater. Detroit, they legit. I like that kid, Amra.
St. Brown.
St. Brown, yeah. I love his game, bro. He remind me of an old school receiver, a dog, speed, can run. So definitely. Well, let me ask you, big bro, who you got any? Well, let me ask you this one first, because the Patrick Mahomes and them boys, they got an opportunity to do the 3-peat thing. We ain't seen this since Tom Brady did it, 20-some seasons ago. Do you think they got a chance to pull it off, big bro, with all the controversy surrounding them?
Nah, they shouldn't, man. I think they got a lot of issues, man. They don't know what the situation is with Rashid Rice.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce getting older. Kadarius Toney, you know what I mean? He didn't really do nothing for you. Valley Scantling didn't do nothing for you.
Mm-hmm.
But they did bring in Hollywood Brown and they drafted Xavier Worthy. Yeah. And they got a better defense than I thought, even though losing L'Jarius Sneed might hurt them.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
But I think the front four should hold up for them, especially with my man up the D tackle, Jones.
Chris Jones, yeah.
Yeah, Chris Jones. He might hold up for them, but I think they're gonna try. I wouldn't be surprised if they go and make a move for another cornerback. You know what I mean? I think they're gonna try what they got right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how Kansas City, they started off slow last season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they picked it up towards the end. They lost the first game of the season to I think it was Detroit, if I'm not mistaken, on Thursday night.
Yep.
Yeah, they lost that. So, I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna kind of see what they can do with what they got, and then they just gonna, because I think the number one need of them is probably gonna go and need to get another cornerback to make up for losing L'Jarius Sneed. But I think they're gonna see how far they can go with what they got. Make moves based off of where they had at the deadline.
Yeah, I respect that. You know what? I was counting them out last season, and with Mahomes having career lows across the board.
Yeah.
Even the Chiefs, number one in drop passes.
Yep.
They had to have a more magic carpet ride per se to do what they did last season.
Yeah.
And somebody that I'm gaining a lot of respect for, man, is Andy Reid. You know what I mean? Like this dude, Andy Reid, for so long was just one of them coaches that could get you to the conference, the conference championship game, and he'll bow out. If he got to the big game, he would bow out. But now he's,
to me, he kind of was ahead of his time, because even before he got to Kansas City, he he's always been an offensive minded coach, but he was
Yeah,
an offensive minded coach when the NFL was primarily defense.
yeah, yep. Good
So
point.
now that the NFL is primary offense, you got guys that's looking for Andy Reid type of coaches. And Andy Reid was already that type of coach.
Yeah, hey, that's a
So
good point.
so
Yeah.
he was already what the
Mm.
NFL is now. He was already there. The NFL just hadn't got there yet, but he was already there.
Hey, that's a good point,
Mhm.
big bro. That's a testament to the
Yeah.
genius. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's probably why Kyle Shanahan keep getting to the damn Super Bowl because it's just an
Him
error that's
too.
catered to him.
Yeah, it's an era that's already fit for his style of coaching. That he was already there. The NFL just he didn't have to catch up to the NFL. The NFL is just now catching up to him. But a
Yeah.
lot of coaches have to catch up to where the NFL is going, and
Mhm.
that's what hurt him. But if you was already that type of coach and the NFL is catching up to you, then you don't have to make no adjustments to your coaching. The NFL is coming to you. You don't have to go follow behind the NFL or what it's doing. Just it's gonna come to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal that take, big bro. I'm gonna cite my sources. I'm gonna be like,
Yeah,
I got it from Ralph from
yeah.
DYT, man.
Yeah, and now you start to see these coaches come from up under these type of coaches off the tree. Even Mike McDaniel's down in Miami,
Hmm.
he came off the Shanahan coaching tree in San
Hmm.
Francisco.
Yeah,
So you starting to see his offensive game, even though they lost to Kansas City in the playoffs, but you're starting to see his offensive game and how he's putting the offense together, and how potent and deadly it is. Get down in Miami.
yeah, bro. I got high hopes for Miami next season. They're gonna be scary. They bringing everybody back. Mike McDaniel's put the pressure on Cheetah. Like we paying you too much money for you not to be
Yeah,
our top dog. So when you can call out your star, then that's a real coach. And like you said, he already got the G's to match. So
yeah.
uh, I
Even
like.
Water, he just stay in it for me. Water,
Yeah, Waddle, that's a dog. That's one of my favorites. Man, they whole squad. I like the Mostert and the other kid,
the running back, the rookie.
Arcane. Yeah, David
Yeah,
Arcane.
yeah,
Yeah, they whole squad just. And I was running with some of them boys in my fantasy football, bro. We were talking about. I kept picking up one of them cats off the fly, like Mostert. He ran me a couple games, and then Arcane ran me a couple games. So
yeah. I had him too.
which one?
Um, Not most of, but the rookie.
Arcane. Yeah, the
Yeah,
rookie. Yeah,
yeah. He
yeah,
got hurt. I had him on the bench, but
yeah. Same.
and the crazy thing is, I had him before he started going off. And then you know how them players they go off or whatever. You be like, man, he ain't gonna do it next week, and
Facts.
he do it, and you be like, oh, he ain't gonna do it 2 weeks in a row. He do it. He ain't gonna do it 3 weeks in a row. He did it, and then you finally put him in, and that's the game he get hurt, and he out for like a month outside.
Man, bro, that fantasy football is so crazy how it works, man. Several times, and it didn't work for me both ways. I got rid of Tony Pollard just in time. Tony Pollard had a few good games
Yeah,
early. Then he started stinking up the joint the last 10 weeks of the season, so I got rid of him. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's funny how it goes. How fantasy football run.
yeah.
But that's dope, bro. I'm gonna ask you one more thing before we got up out of here. Any early Super Bowl picks? You think the
Um,
49ers can run it back? You think the Eagles got a shot? Who you got on the board, man? Just super early Super Bowl picks.
Super Bowl from the NFC. Um, I can see San Francisco getting back there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's an early. They pretty much bringing everybody back.
yeah,
This is the last. To me, this is the last. I mean, they got a good front office. Because after this season, one of either Brandon Ayuk or either Devo Saint, one of them two gonna be gone.
yeah,
Um, so I think coming out of the NFC, I think they got a good chance to come out of the NFC. Um, Between them and Detroit, but I'm gonna take San Francisco to come out the NFC. AFC, um, the AFC can be tough.
yeah.
The AFC real tough. Um, and you're looking at Baltimore possibly,
Mm-hmm.
but really that whole division tough. Baltimore, Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland, and Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
That's a gauntlet in that division. Um,
Facts.
Low key, you might have a repeat of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But like I said, Kansas City, they normally, they wasn't even really clicking on all cylinders at the beginning of the season last year, and they ended up in the Super Bowl. So you know, I think they probably could get back up, pending injuries, but that's with anybody, contact sport football, it would be anybody. But
Respect.
yeah, I can see them two as of right now being a repeat in the Super Bowl.
I ain't mad at that prediction at all, bro. It's funny you say that because I don't know who it was. I heard that opinion out there. Somebody I highly respected. They're like, man, we might get a repeat. And I thought it was Cap. And I started thinking, like, damn, 49ers reloading. They could go on a revenge tour, really. They could.
I think Buffalo is done. They not going. They're not going to. I mean, you gonna have a couple surprise teams that get in the playoffs and make noise. I think Houston's gonna be a surprise team that get in the playoffs and make a little noise. But
Yeah.
and then for some reason Baltimore can't seem to get over the hump.
Yeah.
And that's just a tough division within itself. The AFC North with Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. That's a tough division itself. So it's gonna be a good team that in that division not even gonna make it.
Yeah. That's the tough part, man. Yeah. You said it perfectly, bro. The AFC North gonna be a gauntlet. I think this season gonna be a lot more interesting than people are anticipating. It's gonna be a couple. I think it's gonna be a dark horse. Really, them Bengals. Joe Burrow might be feeling himself again.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with T Higgins situation, but
yeah.
They got him. They lost Tyler Boyd too.
Yeah.
They lost him to the Titans, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So and they lost Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon went to Houston.
That's a fact. Dang, yeah, they did lose some pieces.
Yeah,
some good pieces too.
And then last year they lost the safety, Jesse Bates. They lost him to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I think at one point they was getting a lot of snaps out of Eli Apple. I'm like, bro, Eli Apple in your secondary getting that kind of snaps. But you might need to, you definitely need to address your DB, your secondary. Eli Apple, it's what is 4-15 or something like that. So I think he got drafted by the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
He played with the Saints. He played with the Panthers. Cincinnati, it's like he's 14.
Yeah, he a journeyman, man. It's the reason why those guys get around.
It's like he's 14.
Hey, big bro, man. Well, that's all I really had, man. I definitely appreciate you pulling up.
No biggie, man. Anytime, man. Anytime.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We're gonna definitely have to cook it. Like I said, man, I don't know if I said it on the show, but I've been really following Ralf since the middle of the NBA season, bro. I don't know if the algorithm be sending me the real ones. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy. I can't even explain. I be seeing all kind of like stuff in the middle of the season. I'm like, what was this at the beginning or before the season started? But it don't really hit me until like after halfway through the season. When I start seeing, I'm like, damn. But I go back and look at this stuff, and I'm like, damn. But they've been had stuff. I'm just not getting it.
Yeah, and I'm a victim of it too, bro. That's why I've been trying to lock in, especially with cats like you that's actually putting in the work. You putting out your content. And I'm like, all right, let me lock in, let me check it out. Some cats be capped, some cats you gotta just keep on scrolling.
Yeah, man. I just keep putting out consistent content, man. I just, what I mean. For me, it's like more so like I guess like barbershop talk. You know what I mean?
Thanks, yeah.
You're not gonna hit in the barbershop like you're gonna hit. So you're gonna hit straight no chase in the shop. You ain't gonna hit like they tell it to you on TV. That's kind of how I like to get information. So that's kind of how I like to give it to you.
Yeah, it's a big factory, bro. You doing your thing.
Appreciate it, man. Likewise.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Stay on your hustle. Don't ever quit, because we gonna rise to the top, bro. We the real media, new media too.
Yeah, man. We gonna link up and do more work.
That's a fact. You want to let the people know, do your last plugs, your platforms, bro. One more time for the good time.
Yeah, on YouTube, man. I got content coming real soon, but you can go ahead and subscribe on Damn YouTube Sports Talk. Okay. You can follow my IG, Damn _YouTube _Sports Talk. And you can follow my personal IG at Ralf _Sneaks.
Big facts, bro. Like I said, that collection in the back clean.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, man. It's like I said, it's a habit, man. I've been doing it for years, man. It's a habit.
I'm coming to you for some advice, big bro. Man, hey, look, I'm going to this event with the wife. What should I?
What you need? I got you, bro. What color will you need? I can.
Hey, well, that's it for y'all, man. It is your boy Tony the Savant. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Y'all have a good night.
Appreciate it, man.
Peace.
All right, man. Take it easy.
You too, big bro.
All right, bro.